Hey, welcome to SAB Chronicles, aka the COVID Chronicles. We're going to dive deep into the teachings of a few of our CEO Action Pod groups spanning from 2020 all the way to 2024. This series takes us through the fire of COVID to post-COVID, and now who really gives a care about COVID. If you listen to this series, you're going to gain inside knowledge of strategies of the past and strategies of the future. Hold on to your seats as you're about to get a PhD in business. Buckle up and let's get rolling. Hey, are you looking to scale your business from 5 figures to 6 figures or 6 figures to 7 figures? If you are, I have the perfect thing for you. What I want you to do today is I want you to go download a book. This book is going to take you through my 3-pillar system. It's 100% free. All you have to do is go to growfast.cash. I say again, go to growfast.cash and you're going to be able to download my free international best-selling book, which is called Be Good, Be Brief, Be Gone. You can take that book. It's going to help you scale your business to the next level. Again, go download it. Be good, be brief, be gone. Growfast.cash. I say again, growfast.cash. Enjoy.
I have a special guest with us tonight. Her name is Shelby Jo Long. She really doesn't need any introduction. Not really. She's an executive coach, and she is also a professor at a college in Montana, and she brings a lot of experience to the table from the business world and also from the teaching world. So, and she's also a white label partner, and she has absolutely been rocking it out of the park, pulling clients on like absolute crazy. It's really good stuff. Great to introduce her here to share some really good value to this group. And it's her son's birthday today, so she is going to go through things, and she won't stay for the whole thing because of that. But she's going to impart some really good value. And other than that, I turn it over to you, Shelby, and this awesome group to provide some knowledge to them.
Thank you for the introduction. I'm humbled to be in this group. It's great. I'm new to this group, only been involved for probably 6 weeks maybe. And so I'm new to this group, but I am really excited to get to know all of you throughout this process, and also excited to just continue to bring clients in and to bring partners into the program. I think it's really exciting. And so I thank you for letting me volunteer. I guess that sounds weird to say, but I have no problem stepping up and speaking to a group, because that's kind of what I do for a living. So what Jason said, I am a college professor. I've been teaching business communication, small group communication, all things communication, human communication related, not the technical side of it, I'm in year 14. I'm ending year 14. And I've consulted on and off with organizations over the past 10 years, but this last 2 years, I've really formalized the executive coaching, and I have my own digital program. I help clients walk through the branding process and develop their own digital program in my project called the Expertise Project. So that's what I'm going to talk a little bit about today, and all of that. I do have a little slideshow. If I could share screen, or I don't need to, but
you can go ahead if you want. Yep. Totally up to you.
It's not a boring one, I promise. It's just a few things.
The professor has a slideshow.
No, it's a surprise.
It is not boring.
I'm back in school.
No, I promise there's no assignment at the end, and I promise there's no test or exam, or maybe that's working now. My computer is, and it is my son's birthday today, so I have to go entertain a bunch of 6-year-olds here in a few minutes after I give the presentation. So this is just my background, my info. Like I said, I've been officially a business coach for the past 10 years, but I've formalized it into the past couple of years into this project called the Expertise Project, which all of my information is there if you ever want to access it, or if you run across clients that are in the position to scale their business and to create an additional stream of income in their business, then this is a way to monetize their expertise in another fashion. You know, scaling, when I met Jason, scaling takes on quite a few different ideas when it comes to so many resources and networks and things that you need to actually scale your business. But fundamentally, it comes down to a few basic pieces about your brand and connecting your brand to your audience. And because the vertical scale is a lot easier than the horizontal one. If you speak to an audience and you create that message and you make sure you have that message, your audience can be quite big, but building on the vertical is a lot easier than just trying to hit everybody. So that's kind of what my background is and what I try to do. This is kind of an outline of my program. I'm not going to talk about all of it. I am going to talk about today, just as a prompt of what we need to think about, what I particularly need to think about and help my clients, the process they walk through, is really getting clarity in their brand and who it is they are and who it is they serve. And then we get into the idea, is your idea? What's your expertise? How do you monetize it? And then that's where we get to the implementation and building the community around your idea. This program it's built for all experts, but it's really taken a hold in the academic space. So the academics that want to monetize their expertise further beyond the classroom, because, you know, the classroom doesn't pay much. And also with authors, it's taken a really interesting space by helping authors create programs and courses and membership communities out of the concepts in their book. So that's just kind of a broad overview about what I do. So what I'm going to talk about today is the identity piece, the brand clarity. And the brand, the idea about branding, you know, branding takes on so many different contexts when it comes to digital marketing, any marketing in general. And I don't call myself a marketer by any stretch because I'm not in the digital marketing space, but I do have a gift when it comes to helping companies identify the message that they should be putting in their marketing. So getting down to the fundamental piece about the brand clarity, the brand personality, and the brand positioning. So we think a brand is what the external perception of a company, what you see in marketing and what you say about yourself in marketing. But there's a few more pieces to go along with that can make it make that message really connect with the client or the potential client or potential target audience, and then how you can continue to develop that relationship. So that's what I'm going to talk about. The brand clarity piece, and again, this is a process I take my clients through when we're developing courses and programs, is having a very clear understanding, and it's not simplistic by any stretch of the imagination, but it is really focused. And having a very clear focus in your brand, I help a target audience, an ideal client as a base of that target audience, get the thing that they want without doing this painful thing. So in my business, I help professionals, particularly coaches and authors, develop an additional stream of income without going through the pain of trying to find the ways to create that income. I have a step-by-step process to do that. And I would say the same is true in the past couple of weeks when I've been talking to clients to even get them into fit call, to whether or not they fit with this this combination program that Jason and I have, and all of you have too, it's interesting to identify those pain points and to solve those pain points with what that offers. I think there's so much potential with this partnership within this group. There's so many resources at our disposal, and there's so much strategy and thinking about what happens behind the scaling process that there's a lot of small business owners out there that don't have that. And particularly in the area of authors building a brand, or academics transitioning, or even coaches, how they transition into a space where they're serving an audience and where they don't have all the resources articulated. And I think it's just a very powerful combination. And I think, I feel, at least Jason, you can attest to this too, I feel that's been a part of my ability to connect with people, is that I can help solve that problem because now I have those resources to talk about. And it's really helped me with creating those conversations. So just having just this simple clarification of who you serve and what problems you solve and how you help the clients get through some of those needs, that's what creates the value proposition for your client to even get on a fit call with you, or to even be in a business relationship with you. And that's key to your brand clarity.
Yeah, and you have like a very, very diverse group here. So you have everything from solar to water to merchanting to agencies on this call with you right now. So it's like every mishmash of company that you could possibly think of. And it's always about who's the target, how do I solve a problem, right? So
that's the fundamental business. I mean, I'm trained in communication, but that's the fundamental question of business. And when we spend money is when there's a need and somebody can fulfill that need. So if I am interested in solar energy, and then I as a client or customer I'm going to seek that out. But the person that's making the connection with me, or the company that's making the connection with me, telling the story, talking about how to fulfill those needs, that's the person I'm immediately going to go to. It's like shopping for groceries. Where do you shop for? You probably shop for groceries, or you shop online, and who has made that value proposition to you that connects with you. So I think this is true for all businesses, because it all has to do with human needs, and it all has to do with how we connect with products and how we connect with services. I mean, I go to a certain chiropractor because I like the way that they operate better than the other chiropractor, even though they have the same training. So it's all about your niche that you serve, and it's all about that relationship that you build, no matter what business you're in. So that's my overall view of it. So I'm interested to learn about everybody's businesses. It's so cool. I like being in a diverse group. I think that's really fun because we can learn a lot from each other. Another key piece of a business, no matter what business you're in, whether you're in business coaching, or whether you're in recycling company or solar company, whatever it is that you're in, a key piece of the selling process and the value proposition within a business is who you are and what's your brand story. And this is, I go into this extensively with my clients that are connecting to their authors, connecting to their messages, academics, connecting to what it is that they do, because that's a key piece in building relationships with your clients. Initially, it's key in building relationships with your clients just because it helps you stand out in the flood of information that we have nowadays online. That there's the coaching industry and the consulting industry is flooded with coaches, because a lot of people jumped into coaching because it's remote and they can work from home. And we have to think about how to differentiate our business and differentiate what it is that we do from our competition. Same thing if we're providing a service. If I'm an optometrist or I'm a dentist, I still need to, yes, it knows what it is that I do, but how I'm going to connect with that service is all dependent on the personality and what is displayed on the personality. So I'm really big with authors and my clients and that are developing their programs. I'm really big on the story and the brand story, but I even think that's critical when you think about marketing. Just in general, if you're putting together a video or you're putting together an advertisement or something, having something personal in there is a way to differentiate yourself and draw the audience into developing a relationship with you. Because you don't want a person to be in business with you just one time. You want to keep that relationship going, the long-term relationship, and really get into your brand story. So I think that's a big piece with sustainability and also longevity of your brand, but also to clarify the why behind it, what it is that you do, because that's really where the big connection happens. And that's what differentiates you and your service from everybody else. Because not everybody is telling their story. Not everybody is giving their why, but we connect, we're human beings. So we connect with that on an emotional level, and business and spending money is an emotional decision, whether or not we like to admit it. We spend money where we are emotionally committed. And that's a big part to business. No matter what business we're in, we have to create that connection with people. So the brand personality and the brand clarity are key particularly when you're thinking about scaling your business, thinking about who you are, who you serve, and what it is you actually do. This piece, the brand positioning, where do you position your business, or where do you position your services? This quadrant, in this other business coaching program I did, this I thought made a lot of sense to me. It made a lot of sense because it boils it down into answering these very simple questions. Who do you serve? What problem do you solve? What promise do you make with your clients? And how will you help them achieve that goal? How you help them achieve that need and fulfill that need? Because that's fundamentally what customers are going to do. We buy solutions to problems, because I go to an accountant because I don't want to do my own taxes. Numbers make me crazy. And so I hire somebody else to do that. That's a process that I want to pay for. But making that clear to me and you identifying what that process is, that clarity helps create that story and create that message with your client. And that brand positioning, just answering those simple questions, are how you can begin to vertically scale your business, concentrate in a specific audience, and solve those problems, because that's what customers buy. Solutions to problems. I'll stop sharing. The teacher and me had to do a slideshow, but that was fundamentally just talking about just some basic ideas. I mean, like I said, I'm a communication person, and the basics of communication and human connection and why we spend money has everything to do with who we're communicating with. So we have to be very clear on who we are and who we serve before we go spend that money in marketing. That's always the position that I tend to enforce. And that's the key part of the process before you start putting your program together. And it's been fun to kind of reinvent all of those things as this partnership has created, and what type of solutions that I can provide to potential clients with this new partnership. I think that's a really fun space to explore too, because there's so many resources to solve problems that it becomes a new piece to the brand. So that's what I got.
Yeah, I think that. So I'd like to really hear from the group. because you have a really diverse, really diverse group of individuals on this call, right? So it'd be interesting just to take some feedback on how branding has affected what they've done, if they think they have done it right, wrong, and different. Feel free to chime in.
Thanks for sharing, Shelby. That was awesome insight. I'm also a coach as well. I'm more of a mindset coach than a business, although I do tackle the business aspect of it. For me, my brand is literally what allows me to stand above everyone else. Mm-hmm. For me, it's understanding that I bring a different twist to my coaching. Number one, it's about getting people to step into their greatness. Number two, it's getting them to understand how to lead because I'm also a professional dancer. So I learned through professional dancing that you have to lead your partner. So I'm able to now incorporate my dancing into my coaching, and it basically makes it different from everyone else. So I'm 100% with you. There's the book right there.
There it is.
Yeah, you've got to have that story brand, especially in coaching now. You're absolutely right. The competition is absolutely fierce.
And in coaching, but it's fierce everywhere. I mean, everybody is online. And so the differentiation factor is critical. I think that's so cool that you've incorporated. I mean, I have a similar experience. Like I've incorporated a lot of what I teach into what I do, and I use my story as a piece of differentiation, and that's what helped me with the program and course creation, because I can so quickly and easily do that helps differentiate me. So that's so cool. I'd love to hear more about your process. That's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Don't want to hog up the mic.
My name's Joel, and I don't dance.
I don't either.
Or rock and roll.
No, I rock and roll. Who said I don't rock and roll?
You wait until I took a sip of water to say that.
Shelby, I certainly appreciate your insight. I mean, you actually have some very valuable insight, and it is challenging. It's challenging to define a brand, especially in today's environment. This pandemic has brought on a new era of digital marketing and people going online and trying to define their brand, trying to cut through the noise, as it were. So it takes laser focus, and it takes concerted effort to do so. And it's interesting you bring the parallel to all of the resources available in this group. It takes a while to understand the dynamics of it, but when you do, it's a really, really powerful thing. So great insight. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm just beginning to discover that power. So I've been through a few fit calls already and have 3 agreements. So I'm pretty excited about that. But it's changed how I be. And Jason is exactly right. And I knew that this was something that if I met a client or potential client that had those needs, this is just another way that I could help fulfill those needs. So I'm still kind of like trudging through the murky water of discovering all of it, but
don't you mean dancing?
Yeah, I don't dance very well. So,
I
call it clod hopping.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna start calling Ivan Twinkle Toes. There you go. Little salsa action. Nice. Is that actually you? Very cool.
Oh, wow. That's so
his is the one
was the
where I don't
last
have
Dancing with the Stars in front of little over 1,500 people.
Nice.
Cool.
So he's a local legend.
I mean, how do you follow that up? I think that you brought out a huge point, because I think branding is something that when you look at weaknesses in people's marketing strategy, the congruency, the continuity of their brand and their brand voice is pretty much one of the biggest holes that you can find across the board. And I think that stemmed from, especially when digital marketing first came up, it used to be you throw an ad up, you're going to make your money off the ad because it wasn't as crowded. People weren't as sophisticated. Even online users weren't as sophisticated. They couldn't tell, a good offer from a bad offer. And so, the natural authority or legitimization that a digital ad gave at that time was enough to make a sale. And I think that what we're seeing right now is, especially with COVID, is it really supercharged the transformation, the consumer transformation that's taking place of what consumers expect from the businesses that they do business with. And so you see these brands and these businesses that built their whole strategy around what's now an outdated approach and never filled in the back pieces, like getting a good brand story or getting continuity of voice across their channels. And because they were so focused on the piece that had worked for them so long, they really missed how quickly the transformation went, where the consumers, it's no longer good enough to just be on one platform. Right? That's no longer enough authority or legitimization to a brand. You have to be engaging with your audience on multiple channels. And it becomes a lot easier if you do focus on that brand story and do get that continuity of voice across the channels where everything's working in an integrated fashion. So I just, my hat's off to you. You gave a lot of good information tonight.
Thank you.
Looking to grow your business beyond 5 figures, 6 figures, 7 figures plus? What I want you to do is go download this book. The title is called Be Good, Be Brief, Be Gone. It will help you grow your business past 5, 6, and 7 figure. Go download the book today, growfast.cash. I say again, growfast.cash, and download the book for absolutely free.
I look at it from this standpoint. We have been inundated online for the last, year plus now? And the internet is flooded with charlatans, okay? Completely flooded with charlatans. People that have, lost their job. They've became all of a sudden an expert overnight at something, right? And some of these folks are really good at doing this conversation, right? Building a brand, building a persona, doing all these things. And it's really unfortunate from the business owner stand side that we're constantly being hit with this garbage. My phone rings every 15 seconds, I swear to Christ, about the next great thing, or, let us work over your website, or let us get you good SEO, or all this stuff. And you look at some of these companies, they look great from the exterior until you really start digging, right? So you start to really dig, and then you find out that it's a pig in a sheep's clothing. So, it's important also in today's time to have not just a good brand, but also good brand backing. Mm-hmm. Okay? Good brand backing. I really took this as not necessarily for me to do, but I do listen to what you do say sometimes, Robert, about the need, right? The need to make sure that you have, this really, testimonials, good testimonials, these things that come into play technologically. Google My Business, all this stuff. It's all really, really good stuff. And it can really, really do your brand a lot of justice. For Will, over at Sharing the Credit. It's what? It's the I just used the term today. What's that for the foundation? What is that, Will? What's that called? GuideStar. GuideStar. Being GuideStar rated is huge, right?
Right.
Because that's the gold standard for a foundation. So if I'm Will Black telling a company that, yeah, we're going to give money to the charity that you love, but you're never going to see it, right? You're not going to see the transaction happen necessarily, right? So I have to have a certain amount of trust. So when I see it, the gatekeeper like GuideStar, I know that's legitimate. So, or I know that this is a Better Business Bureau, A+ rated company, whatever the case may be. Okay, so that's how we can delineate from some of the charlatans, okay, as well in the brand, because that's a whole nother discussion. But I just thought it was important to bring up, just as important not to be that guy or gal, right, as looked at that way, and really looked at as the legit brand, yada, 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 yada. So anyway, that was just my little bit of input on that. Or my ramble. Whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, we're silver sealed with GuideStar. We're working on our platinum, and to get platinum, you basically got to call them and tell them what you're eating every day for lunch, because they work in terms of transparency. So,
Right. But that'll come.
Wait, you mean you get lunch, Will?
if I'm not eating lunch, I just tell them I don't get to have lunch today, and that counts. That I'm at my desk.
Yeah, pretty much 24/7, as I found out.
Doesn't mean I hit send on all the things. I had 3 things going out to people, and Joel's like, "Are you going to answer me?" It's sitting in drafts. It's sitting in drafts.
I hate when I do that. I know, it's horrible.
Shelby, I would say, we've actually, struggled actually with, really growing the brand. For us, it's also, I think one of our secret things is we need shocking amounts of social proof. We're working on just piling and piling, testimonials, because people do not believe that you give away their money to their nonprofit without being a socialist. That means a whole different thing now, but I'm not. I gladly, businesses gladly say, no, give this percentage that normally goes to MasterCard, that MasterCard Visa builds in for a bank, and give it to a charity, right? Give it to something that inspires me. But the walking through people, that on a, how do I know it's not a real? Well, here's an IRS thing. Here's testimonials. Here's a silver seal. But getting to the point of growing the brand in it, growing the story behind the brand, that's the Herculean task. I think right there. So
it's not something that's done, particularly when it gets to the brand story. It's not something that's done very quickly. So it's because it's a lot of it's the why. I mean, I think that's the supporting a charity. That's kind of ripe to just take one of their stories and show what you can do and show the product of that. I think that's a really super powerful way to kind of stick it to everybody else and say, look at all the power, amazing things that we can do. And we do and that's a complete differentiator that probably not many other people do. And I think that's something that is a unique part of your brand, is the cause. There's a lot to the cause piece too. So there's, I'm in the process of writing my book, and I haven't in the past been super comfortable about telling my story, but now I'm starting to understand how critical it is to have that story with my brand and with all of the things that I do, because it's just important to connect with people in that way. But using those stories and connecting to causes, that's something that's super powerful with people too, particularly when it comes to businesses too. So.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. I mean, tying back to what Robert was saying just a little bit ago, is it used to be that you could tell your story and people would listen. But now there's so much noise out there that you have to not only tell your story, you now have to get people to listen. To get people to listen, you have to have a story that is compelling, makes sense, and drives your brand in the market. It's not just about width anymore. It's about width and depth. So,
and it has to be in like 30 seconds. It's got to be quick.
Less, yeah.
It's got to be quick, because I mean, that's the other thing too, is that like attention spans are different. The way, how much information we have thrown at us, but then like, depending on what market you're talking about, like, I mean, I teach 18 to 22-year-olds. Their attention span is like this. You know,
well, it's right there. It's the phone in front of them is their attention
right
span.
there. And if it does not catch your eye, those people are going to be customers, you know. And I think the generational piece is different too, about how they consume material and how, you know, like I did not grow up with a phone in my hand, but it completely changes the communication style of the people that did grow up with like the internet and the phone in their hand. They have a completely different communication style than I do. My generation does, you know, so it's immediate
and flashy. Will's message, I think, just needs to be, I give away money.
Come talk to me. I'll give away more money. Make sure
that gets me accosted in parking lots. I don't have money on me.
But you offer credit cards, don't you?
Shelby has cash on her. Go talk to Shelby. I am not carrying a wad of cash. There's no bankroll.
Pointed towards the educator, right?
Yeah, but what about those credit cards you offer, Will?
For the Discovery Channel? Yeah.
Right. Well, and so you look at this whole conversation, right? And, you know, Joel is a perfect example of, you know, how do you take, you know, because what Joel has with his the M-Pro system, I've now stopped calling it a CRM now.
Thank you.
The new M-Pro system that he has now.
Now I have to put in a dance module too. Yeah, thanks, Ivan.
It is. I mean, when you take everything across the board, there's nothing like it, right? And there's nothing in the market like it. And when you reduce it down to a one page, right? It's like, right?
Right.
Yeah. So how do you really get that across? How do you brand it across the line to where it's like,
it's hard.
You know, where it's like, I mean, Jesus Christ himself couldn't have built this as good, right? So,
okay, yeah. Let's tone that back just a little bit.
Too high of an expectation.
Yes. Set that bar just a little too high.
So will you be doing the water walking on Saturdays or Sundays this year, Joel?
That's the module right after dancing.
Oh.
Yeah. And I want to know what he's going to do with water into wine. That's the one I want. It's Friday.
Yeah, I'll pay double for that one.
That's easy. All you do is go out, buy a bottle of Evian and pour wine in it. It's simple. Come on. That's a marketing play.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the dramatic point I'm trying to get across, is that how do you take something that kicks everything else ass online like that, right? And when you reduce it down to a one sheeter, it's like, right? So yeah, it's just another CRM, because that's what I thought, right? How many times have I said that? Let's talk about Joel's CRM. Right?
Yeah, you've said it once or twice, or 100 million times.
You scolded me many times over.
Well, it is a pretty good CRM, Joel.
Oh man, I can talk to you, Robert. What were you saying?
When When you were showing me the other day, you said it says CRM right over there on the left-hand side.
Well, that's one of the tabs. Thanks, David.
Yeah, make a new name for it. Create a new name for it. It's a new brand. Like, I'm a communication person. We make up names all the time. Make a new name.
But you got to be careful because people also have to know the functionality behind it, and there's classifications of functionality. So it's a tricky question. How do you tell your story for a really complex product in 30 seconds or less? Great question. Solve that problem, you're a bazillionaire overnight, right? You're like Will, really, really wealthy.
You use your biggest hook for each audience and then go into the larger conversation.
Right, exactly. Now, it has to be about the short. I'm sorry, go ahead.
For sure. So
yeah, but to Jason, it's just a CRM, so it's okay.
That's okay. I'm still trying to teach him what GMB is.
I don't care.
Yeah, there you go. That's
and when you said I do listen, I was like, is he really trying to get me to believe that?
Well, what Robert said last time I talked to him was, thanks for wasting my time for an hour and then just telling me that I don't really care.
Well, but he heard GMB, right? So you got to start. So
a positive step is a positive step. Fair enough.
Yeah. And so, I mean, you look at all of this across the board, it's always a challenge. It doesn't matter what it is. You know, how do you brand yourself as being the go-to? I guess that's really the question.
But at the outset, it's about how do you cut through the noise now?
True.
That's the question for today. I mean, maybe that changes down the road when they ban Twitter and Facebook and Google and all that stuff. But for today, it's how do you cut through the noise? So.
Right. And how does your USP cut through the noise?
Yeah, fair enough.
Right.
So, or if it's a complex product, then you have multiple USPs,
right,
and it's easier to define it one by one, like Robert was saying, and hook it, and then build the story. But what's interesting, Shelby, is what you brought up is building the story around that. Because if you can build a story that encompasses the entire product and a story that's compelling, I think that's a really good way to look at it. So.
Well, and then your story is developed after you identify it, because it's this kick-ass system, right? So if you differentiate that, but then who can best use it? Like, is it for coaches? Is it for, like what's in? Now, it doesn't need to be an industry, but that might be a way to articulate the story too, is to identify who it's best suited for. So.
Yeah, the problem is it's a very wide, it's pretty much anybody who's in business, because it's a really customizable platform, one that is flexible enough to adapt to pretty much any industry. And I mean, we're going through a use case right now that's really exciting, because it's our first major use case, and it seems to be adapting really well to it. So I'm pretty excited about that.
You got the Swiss Army knife of marketing tools is what you have over there, Joel.
Pretty much.
Yeah, no, it's already taken. Sorry.
Well, hey, I'm interested in hearing some feedback from Terry, because Terry does a lot with some pretty decent sized brands as far as the agency model is concerned. So how have you seen this really play out in the last year, Terry?
I mean, really, it's all about like authenticity. So we're talking about kind of cutting through the noise, because there's a hell of a lot of noise. So you have to cut through it. But really, like what's working now and probably in the future is authenticity. So like for Joel's example, you need to show someone that they were paying for Infusionsoft, they were paying for ClickFunnels, they were paying for whatever stuff that your stuff replaces. and now they don't have to pay for that stuff anymore, and they're getting even better results in a lower bill. If you have people lining up to say that, that cuts through the noise. Like, what are they doing now? They don't have to pay all these individual bills. What are they using to cut that down by, 6 or 7, whatever it is, and makes it easier for them to manage? Until you can get to that point, it's going to be hard to market and hard to sell. So you have to have people telling their authentic story, and that's really what it takes to be able to market specifically, on paid traffic, from a paid traffic perspective. If you had that and you could tell that story, there's people that, because I pay all of them separate bills, you guys probably pay them all as well. So if someone is saying that, hey, they got to cut this down and it's working and made my life easier, that's how you win, and that's how you can scale it up. So it's figuring out how do you get, and you're working through it. You said you're doing use studies and things like that, but I think that's kind of the key, and that's the key for all businesses, is how can you do that? How can you get real people talking about real results that people are going to believe and can envision themselves getting?
Mm-hmm.
That's a fair point.
Money too, right? Like, I'm not a technologically savvy person at all. User friendly, and money is a big benefit, and reducing all the other clutter that you have, but the usability is key. And I think for a lot of people that would be, every business could use it, but it's like creating that story of who it best serves. So
interesting.
Yeah, because it is money, but then there's a lot of non-monetary reasons too to build
time being one of the key factors. If you can save people time, then you save them everything nowadays.
Right.
Which is another thing that you may want to consider. Like, what if you were able to partner with Regina's team, and they became like the experts at leveraging your system, so when someone comes in, they don't have to be intimidated with having to transfer things over, because you can pair them with someone at a low cost that can do all that stuff for them, and that knocks out one of the biggest objections that that you're going to get. Because they're going to say, hey, this is going to be difficult. But if you already have a team of VAs that can do that for them, that makes it a lot more attractive.
No, and that's actually a fair point, one we've considered. To start off, I think we're going to have to be a little bit more technical than just a VA. But that's something that you grow into down the road as you get all the documentation, as you get all of the parameters worked out for the platform. Because that's actually a very valid point, one we've already considered, Terry. So yeah, I agree with that 100%. When you get it to the point where you already have your support built in, because that's one of the things that everybody nowadays, there's not one person on this call right now that would say, you know what, my favorite thing about a product is I can't get support, or it takes me 2 days to find out how to do something that should take 30 seconds. There's not one person on this call that's not like that. So that's one of the key things that we're building into the platform, is the supportability, because without that support, it's really kind of, it's like every other product out there that's complicated to use, and nobody calls you back or emails you, or my favorite one is when they email you back and answer a question that you didn't even ask. And that's always great. And it's like, great, now I have to reply to you, and you're going to take another day to get back to me. So I think support and saving time is probably one of the biggest focuses that this product should be about. Saving time is saving everything, especially in today's super noisy world. So,
well, and here's the other dynamic in this specific instance that we talked about, Joel, is, okay, it's a company that's, say it's a $300-400 million company. They have, 600-700 employees, right? Changing over is a headache. So being able to say, it's okay, we're going to do all that for you.
Right.
We're going to change. We have all the technical support to move you off the current into ours. That makes a huge difference right there, because otherwise it's like, well, so you just kind of just want me to figure this out then.
Right. No, you're 100% right. Yeah.
So
Otherwise, it's Microsoft.
Right.
Exactly.
I'm not even talking to you, Robert.
Well, hey, I know Shelby has to drop off the call because she has her birthday party to get to. Does anybody have anything else for her?
Yes, I hope you have a great time at your 6-year-old's birthday party.
I'm just excited for it to be over already.
Yeah, well,
It's not in
understood.
my house, so that's nice.
So you don't have to do all the cleanup. Nice. There you go.
Somewhere else for it. So
That's what you call strategic planning.
Well, thank you very much. It's been a very enlightening conversation. So,
well, it was nice to
Thank you.
faces to all the names and email addresses. So I'm excited to keep moving forward.
Awesome.
perfect.
Thank you, Shelby.
Thanks, Shelby,
Thank
for
you.
coming and imparting some knowledge in the group tonight.
Anytime.
All right. Have a good night.
Thanks.
Good night.
Cool. Awesome. Well, hey, that's just some really good discussion. That's really just good points that a lot of us just don't even freaking think about, right? So
Right.
a lot of times we don't even think about this stuff, or some of us live and breathe this stuff, right? So, or you live it and breathe it for other people, but you forget to do it yourself.
The cobbler story. Yep.
Right? So I mean, there's always things that we're really good at, and then things that we tell other people to be really good at and we're really bad at. So it's it is what it is, right? So, but there's a lot of value in brand, and you know, I mean, I really heavily leaned on my story to start this brand when I, came out of the military and all that stuff to start this company. And it's very lengthy. I mean, I literally go from growing up on a farm all the way through my military career and all the painful moments, everything my wife went through in 2008 with the downturn of the economy and one of our companies that she was running then. And it really I really think it allowed people just to connect to that, right? Because it was just authentic. I just wrote it. I wrote it as it was. I didn't try to candy coat it. It was just raw. It's in every one of my books. That same story is in every published book that I have. And I think it just really resonates with people to just hear that, well, hey, you're a human too, right? You're not up on some platform and it's just, freaking fairy dust and butterflies all the time. Because obviously it's not. That's not true for anybody in life and or business, because everybody goes through struggles. So you share the wins and losses both ways, right? In that story. And I think that really gives something for people to latch onto and to connect to. And even though they didn't have that experience, they might have had an experience that was similar, just in a different way, but it gained just this much trust.
Well, I mean, Terry was absolutely right. It's about authenticity. And when you tell the truth and the story and people can relate to it, the ups and the downs, it's just authentic. And that's beyond valuable in today's marketplace. So,
and I had a really good marketer one time told me, there's three things. There's three things that you want a customer, a potential customer, lead, whatever. You want them to know you, like you, and trust you. Those three things. If you gain those three things right there, you're going to gain a customer from that. Why? Because the value will just be inherent, right? Because people can obviously see right through tons of bullshit, right? So if you're just authentic in what you can do and what you can't do and all of those things and what you bring to the table, I mean, people will love you forever, right? So, because today in today's world, it's all about, it's strictly about results. Nobody gives a shit about anything else. Not really. At the end of the day, it's great that they trust you. You got them to that point, but could you move the needle further? And that's not always your fault either, right? Because sometimes, well, it's like a friend of mine said, we raised 2 kids. One of them became a doctor and the other one became a shithead. And, the comment you can get is from the one, we were raised the same, I just took a different path. The other one is, my mom and dad did a great job raising me, I'm just a shithead, period. I mean, it just is what it is, right? So clients are the same way. You can have a client that will hyper focus and hang on every freaking word you say and execute that. And then you'll have those that it's a combination of that, right? So it's sometimes the brand is great to get people in the door, but results are always going to be back on them, right? And the sheer amount of agencies we have in here, that's pretty understood, I'm sure, from that standpoint of it. Because you can do everything right as an agency, and if your product sucks, is what it is, right? Or they're not willing to pivot the product or so on and so forth. And it's the same thing here in this group. If you're not willing to pivot to change, then, how do you get the result, right? It's pivot. I think I coined the word micro pivot last year. But that's the world we started living in last year, was what's the little micro pivots that we have to make in business? Some of them are brand, right? Some of them are product. Some of them are lots of different things, but being able to pivot to what the market wants, right? A lot of service industries would have died if they wouldn't have pivoted last year, right? Let's continue to put, tons of salespeople together and try to get them into homes. Probably wasn't a good idea, right? Because of all the shit that was going on at the time, depending on where you lived. So companies pivoted, like David pivoted. It was a whole different, like from day to night different from what he was doing on that pivot. But that doesn't mean he can't go back to both later. But the pivot had to make sense at the time to fit where we are today. So, which has been, nothing short of amazing over on his part to get all that pushed through and agreement signed from manufacturer and all that stuff, and convince somebody that from the outset that you're going to do all that stuff. I mean, that's good salesmanship too. On top of all that. So, or putting this whole thing together with brands, with water and solar and all these different things that are going on within this group. And we live in a world where you either change and pivot or you're going to die, period. So what works? It works. Maybe it works for a year. Then you got to pivot if it stops working, But being able to project some of that is kind of key. So
Hey, we all want to scale our business. Hey, I have the answer for you today to help you do that. If you're looking to scale from 5, 6, even 7 figures and beyond, book called Be Good, Be Brief, Be Gone. I'm going to give it to you for free. All you have to do is type in growfast.cash. I say again, growfast.cash, and you can download the book for absolutely free. I hope the book helps you this year. Take your business to the next level. Again, go grab the book, growfast.cash. I say again, growfast.cash. I wish you the best and grow, scale, and win. Thank you for tuning in to the SAB Chronicles, otherwise known as the COVID Chronicles. Hey, we hope you took a lot of great little golden nuggets from this episode. Follow us on social media. Follow us everywhere you can follow us for updates on all of our different series of podcasts, to include this one right here. We hope to see you back as soon as possible. And remember, always, you should always want to grow, scale, and win. We'll see you on the next episode.
There it is. Magnum. Holy moly.
Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for!
Dear God. It's beautiful.